to our little Griefie Monday series that we've got going. I was thinking eventually I would probably, I kind of want to keep Mondays for grief updates, but maybe eventually, whenever I'm not feeling the need to talk so much, I would probably have other people on that talk about healthy coping for grief. I don't know. Let me tell you about today. Not very much griefy related, but kind of griefy related. Um, so woke up in a decent mood, but that quickly turned sour. Um, that happens where moods fluctuate really fast for me. Some of that is related to needing to eat different foods. And so, let me just get to the food stuff later. But anyway, my mood went south really fast. And I just, it's just agitation. But I kept pressing forward because I had a to-do list today. This is part of that to-do list. I've only got a couple other things to do. Um, but I kind of continued forward on the to-do list, which helped tremendously with my mood. I did have a little period of crying, went into Jake's room and just sat in there for a little bit and touched his shirt that I keep in there and smelled his room and just cried and cried. And that helped. Always makes me feel less agitated. Always, always. So, um, I assume now that if I'm agitated, I need to eat, I'm tired, and or I need to cry or have some sort of emotional expression of grief. I can feel the physical ramifications of grief. That's the thing I feel the most sometimes, is how it's impacting me physically. So, anyway, had myself a good cry. Then we all went to the freaking grocery store where I proceeded to lock my keys in the car. That happened because my key is not supposed to be allowed, my doors aren't supposed to lock if your key is in there, but it did. Uh, but I was really proud of us as a family. I had decided for all of us to go together because people like certain things and whatever, and um, Brian's going out of town this week, so I just wanted to make sure. He's usually the grocery store guy and whatever, so I wanted to make sure that we had everything we needed, which is a whole other topic. But so we all went. We were having a really good time. We went to 2 stores because we always start at Aldi and then we go to the local grocery store. And for produce, I don't do produce from Aldi. I've learned a big lesson there. So we did that and locked my freaking keys in the car. And so I said out loud, I'm I locked my keys in the car and I'm really mad at myself. But really internally, I was rapidly searching for a way to blame one of the other family members. So it was funny because after we settled on calling Jake's best friend, Isaiah, because he lives close, who showed up immediately. Thank you, Isaiah. And his girlfriend. And I'm so sorry. I'm having trouble remembering your name right now. Anyway, they came right away. It was amazing. And he offered to bring a lockout kit, but I thought that my car required a special way of unlocking it. It did not. It did not. And it cost us $325. And that is devastating because that is not money I have just to dispose of. So pretty upsetting. But I was proud of us because we called him. I asked for help. I didn't just try to Uber and spend money we didn't need to spend when we could just ask him for help. So I was proud of that. And I even modeled how to deal with this because I told my family I really want to blame someone, and Bryson was like, I would too, and I kind of thought you would. And I was like, well, I mean, I wanted to, but I know that's just a shadow of shame. And the second I release the agitation point around wanting to blame someone, then it was just okay, what do we need to do to get this taken care of? I can get through this in a really pissed off manner, or I can just stay chill. So I opted for chill. I sent Charlie and Bryson with a friend because we were right by the house. And then we stayed, waited for the locksmith. He got in 2 minutes for $325. Oh my God, I'm sick. Anyway, so we got that done. Then I've just been working on other stuff on my to-do list. One of the things I have to deal with this week is, and I don't think I can say too much about this, but Jake received a certified letter, which I'm annoyed at Brian for signing for. earlier this week. He is being sued for his last car accident. He was the fifth car in a five-car pileup, and the car in front of him was a big-ass work truck that he did zero damage to. But whatever, so now I have to type up a response for that. I'm really hoping that just being like, this dude's deceased without a fucking death certificate or anything yet, because the medical examiner said it would take 90 days to get the autopsy done. Hoping that works, but nothing I can do about it. So I don't want to talk anymore about that because it stresses me out. Anyway, so that's something I have to do today is type up the response, and then I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the energy to go to the courthouse and file that response. So I'm kind of stressed about that. Anyway, so, let's see, what else was I gonna tell you? I guess I'll tell you about the physical stuff. I've talked about this a couple of times, like, an episode coming out soon on Unquiet Soul. I mentioned this, and I know what I need to do. It's just not that easy to do it right now. So, but the thing is that I'm having a lot of problems with food. I've narrowed it down to either and fatty foods and or dairy. The problem is I get so hungry that I can't make good choices at that point, and I'm just like, well, I need to eat now before I bite somebody's head off. So that's part of my problem. And also cooking is yucky. I just, whatever. So that's one of the reasons I went to the grocery store is to try to like prep some food ahead of time for the week. So we're gonna do some of that tomorrow because, well, the kids are out of school, but Bryson has a follow-up for his hand that he broke and had surgery on. So good times. But yeah, I'm getting like really, really nauseous. And then like my whole body just kind of just like, ooh, it needs to lay down. Like I just get so tired. And then some other really unpleasant symptoms. So today was better, and trying to think. I really haven't had, well, all I've eaten is some saltines, and I had some dark chocolate almonds at the grocery store while we waited. So, but amazing how I'm full of energy and my stomach hurts a little, but it's not like it has. So definitely the food. Okay. Well, I'm really glad to realize the food was playing a role in my very, very, very low energy. So that's good. Okay, good. Glad I worked that out. Anyway, my sister Sarah came over and helped me clean this week. She offered because of my last podcast. So I said, yes, I will trust you in my house. Please come help me clean. Um, and I just wanted to I did have to move like some things to my bedroom because that's part of the reason it hasn't gotten done is because I don't feel like going through deciding on a place to organize and put it away. So I was like, you know what, my bedroom's a hellhole anyway. I'll just put it in there for now and then get the front of the house clean. So we got the bathroom really clean. We got the living room and kitchen really clean. Like I still need to clean up my refrigerator, but I'm in a much better, my floors were mopped. The thing is this. While I had been managing my very, very best over the last year, Jake, my best wasn't always that great because the pressure, stress, fear, shame was always just kind of under the surface. Like I was constantly addressing it. I was doing okay. I was doing okay, but now that I don't feel that fear all the time and the stress of trying to keep someone else on the right path and alive, um, and out of fucking jail. Uh, I feel a major difference, and so I can definitely see how even when I didn't realize I was white knuckling it, I was, but so much of the housework just went to the wayside over this last year and a half because I just didn't have the energy for that and all the other stuff I was doing. So my floors had not been mopped in I don't know how long. And my family contributes greatly to these messes. Let me not play. But I don't know, I guess I'm still figuring out how to because I've gotten to this place where I'm like really respectful of the fact that like just because I want it done now doesn't mean that it's fair to ask for that. So the thing is I thought there would be a time where we could all come together and decide on a day and a time each week to kind of tackle some things, but it was like something new every week was happening with one of us, specifically Jake. And so, anyway, the house was a mess. So my sister helped me clean it, and we had such a fun time just chit chatting. And she helped me with the plant because I had a little freak out because it got a little droopy one day. And I was like, "What the hell, not my baby?" Because it's the plant that I kept from Jake's funeral. So she helped me, and we talked a lot about plants, and that was good. I'm really excited to grow more plants. She actually texted me about one earlier, and I'm really excited about it. Um, I almost had my little blanket done, and then as I was folding it up last night, the one I'm finger knitting, as I was folding it up last night, I realized I had fucked up a little bit. I didn't go all the way across because I didn't realize it because I didn't have it spread all the way out because I don't really have a surface I can do that on. And I've been watercolor painting, so that's been fun. But anyway, the house. Um, so the thing that I talked to her about too, I've been talking about this a lot on my show lately and just in general, all the shows, all the everything. Um, the concept of we as humans making our outsides match our insides. So our outer world really reflecting what our inner world is. And I was doing a little bit of cleaning because, like, I felt guilty asking my sister to help me wipe walls, but that's something that, like, matters to me, so my walls look clean. So, like, I was just kinda doing stuff like that before she came because she did it after work, and I really did feel so guilty, but I was like, "Let people help you." Um, I started to cry because, um, it did mean a lot to Jake for our house to be clean and organized, and it helped him when it was, and that's actually something I thought about all the time when he was still alive, is just guilt, um, for not having a cleaner house, and so I started to cry when I was cleaning before my sister got here and thinking, "I wish I could have gotten this done before he moved home." Or before he died, because remember he moved out for a few weeks, and, like, his room is just so gross because I wanted to get the energy to get it clean before he moved like, after he moved out so that when he came home and stuff, it would be clean, but I just didn't, and it still just looks like shit, and he made it look worse because when he moved home, he really didn't move in, he just kinda dropped his shit. He wasn't home very much those few weeks he had moved back home, and I started thinking about how, because maybe you don't believe in astrology, but Libras are very, very much about the aesthetic of things. Like, that's why most of the Libras, are creative in some way. They dress nice. It just, they love the aesthetic. And he was a Libra moon. So, like, that's what made him feel safe and comfortable. And so I was crying because, I'm just his mom. I just wanted him to feel cozy. And so as I thought about it, I thought, well, first of all, if he had not had me in such a fucking stressed out place, I could have done a better job of keeping up. Because really, the house got way behind back when he was arrested and stuff. Like, I've gotten it kind of almost there a couple of times, but then I never really did full deep cleans and we just pile back up and whatever. Um, but I thought about that and I thought about how he was such a fucking slob. He once said, right before he moved back home, he was talking shit about how dirty my bathroom was because I had, like, just makeup and shit all over the counter. And I said, "I bet it's cleaner than yours." He's like, "It is not." And I believed him. And so, it's just something that hurts me when I think about it, that I couldn't give him that. So, but he was a mess maker. As a matter of fact, he's still got a pile of clothes in my bathroom that I refused to touch because one of those last days he just walked it, like, he would clean his room and be like, "Oh, okay, oh, my laundry room is in my master closet." So, he would just come and the master closet is connected to my bathroom, so he would just come and just like, he didn't do things respectfully, and that was just the autism. There were some things he just didn't think about, and so, actually, the other day, I was in my bathroom and picked up his favorite shirt, and it smelled just like him, and it was so good. Anyway, so I started thinking, like, you know what? Jake was making his outer world match his inner world, just like I used to. just like I used to. Believing so much that people didn't understand him and didn't want to. Believing so much that we as his family, when I say people, I mean his family, that we were just irky and, um, so that he could feel safe to not be vulnerable, which I know all about, so that he didn't have to feel his shit enough to share it. I know that. And I just thought about all the things he had done to make sure his outer world matched his inner world. And it felt really important to me to talk about that. For one, on the grief side of things, it does help relieve a little bit of the pain that you feel when your brain, because it doesn't matter how good at this I am. My brain will cycle through the shoulda, coulda, woulda at least once every other day. I don't stay on them. I know some people who do, but I don't, but it happens. And so I know that he spent a lot of time making sure his outer world matched his inner world. And his inner world really was pure chaos. He had a very hard time controlling his thoughts. He was very impulsive. And based off just the psychological evaluation we had with him when he was diagnosed, I mean, he had a lot of self-hatred at that point. Now, he had become a lot more confident, and he mistook that for self-love. And so it was really hard for me to get him to understand me when I tried to explain that, but he got to a place where he believed he was just so much more enlightened than me. And I mean, obviously some of that was his age, but anyway, there were some things he would listen and some things he wouldn't, and that just wasn't something he would listen to about the self-love. I tried to explain to him that if he was so judgmental of all of us, that that was stuff he was judging in himself, and so that's what I mean about, like, insides matching your outsides reflecting what your internal world is. Now, I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that, like, I don't believe that Jake died because of a belief I had about myself, but, like, like, if you're consistently having a lot of bad shit happen, then not bad shit happen, more like I just can't get anywhere in life kinda thing, that thing. I would say there's likely a belief somewhere that you don't deserve that, and that's the things I've been working on is really just uncovering those subconscious beliefs. Because the thing is that just because a version of you that is this age finally understands things on a conscious level does not mean that any of those previous versions of you have caught up. So that's what I really work on. I'm distracted because Charlie's having big feelings in the living room. So if you can hear her, I'm sorry. It's frustrating me. Um, so anyway, I've been working really hard on that and just kind of making sure that I give those versions of me softness and truth and understanding and the things that they didn't have when they were making decisions and um just the acceptance and love that all versions of me have ever asked for. Yeah, trying to think of any other updates. I will say this. I recorded quite a bit this week and I saw several clients. And I had a pretty good week. Like, I can tell when I need to address stuff that's not on the surface, and I do. That's part of why I do this solo thing too, because it is such a release for me to talk, and then it makes me cry, and then that's just, movement of the grief. Any movement just keeps you sane. I am finding that I can hold other people's expressions of, like, sadness. I have a very difficult time holding anger. Like, I'm scared of other people's anger, and it's not just because it's a huge trigger for me from abuse, but it is like, their anger scares me because I'm so afraid of becoming angry because that is how I guess I'm afraid their anger will rub off on me. I don't know, but, like, now I'm, like, watching a bunch of child loss accounts on TikTok, which is very helpful because it is a very unique loss. And, like, I won't say people don't know pain if they haven't had this kind of a loss, because I don't believe that, but it is very different. It's just unimaginable, really. That's the only way I'll describe it, but, um, so it's comforting to hear other people's experiences on TikTok, but the ones who are really angry, and then even people I know in my personal life, when they're angry, it just scares me. So that's something that I've really tried to dig into and understand what's going on there. Um, but yeah, I think overall it's been a pretty good week. A few really painful moments, but the best way I can is that son. Hi, Danny. Hi. Honey, no. It's like it's just always there. But it's weird because sometimes I can think about him and it feels happy to think about him. And then other times I can think about him and just the realization that he's not here is awful. Like, I think last Sunday or Monday night, I was just cycling through, picturing him in his room that night, the casket, like, whatever, and just, like, I actually felt like I would rather he still be in his floor for me to be able to hold him and touch him, which is weird, but in that moment, it felt so real, like, "Oh, I just need him close." Um, that was really tough, but just crying and crying and crying, that really helped. And just saying it all out loud. Um, there's been several times where just like, because it's you never expect that wave, you know? It just pulls you under, and I just kinda ride it, I don't fight it. I just cry and hurt and let it hurt, and, like, my chest, just noticing some tightness in my chest just talking about that. But, yeah, so there are moments like that, and then, like I said, like, if I am active during the day with recording and my clients, like, I'm good. And I'm hoping that once I get the food thing figured out, I'm gonna have, like, so much more energy, so hopefully that works, but anyway, I think that's all the update I really have right now. Now I have, I'm less $325, so if anybody wants to subscribe to the Patreon or buy some merch, to help with that, that'd be great. But yeah. Oh, the only thing, and I think I talked about this before, but this is another thing I'm hesitating to talk with lost parents about, is because, I have had a couple be like, well, just because I've had a child loss doesn't mean just because we've had like a child loss doesn't mean I know your experience or whatever. So when people say that to me, I appreciate it, because it is the assumptions that start to get on my nerves a little bit, of like knowing exactly how I feel or exactly where I'm at in this process. And there just continues to be these implications that I don't know what's coming. Obviously, that's the truth. I don't know what's coming because I haven't lost a child before. I know through the stages of grief. No, I hate that phrase. I know through having experienced grief before or loss before, the first year is more numb and the second year is the worst. Like, not the worst ever, but like the second year is worse than the first year. Okay, I get that. I know there's worse coming or whatever. But like, it's not fucking helpful to say things like that. You know what I mean? So like, I'm living minute to minute right now. Actually, I really feel like we're about in the hour to hour, day to day thing, which I feel like is great. I'm not putting any pressure on myself to be anything other than what I am in the moment at all. So sometimes I'm bitchy and I don't respond to people right then because I'm bitchy. And then other times I'm in a really good mood, so I do. Other times I'm crying, and so I tell them that. It is what it is. I think I'm doing okay. Um, but it's frustrating. I don't like that. So that's the only complaint I really have this week. But otherwise, I'm just going to continue to feel solidified in what I'm doing here and just hope that this helps somebody. Um, Like, it's weird because, like, this episode specifically, I'm like, "Who's this gonna help?" But sometimes people talk about shit on the internet that they don't think is gonna be that beneficial, and I find it very beneficial, so I'm gonna publish it anyway. I love you guys. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. Certainly holding you in my heart. And yeah, thank you for being here. And that's it for our little Griefie Monday update. Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share. Emotionally Unavailable.